Today, we're going to be restoring this absolutely stunning yet unwearably broken rare G-Shock from the year 2013 that I managed to pick up for an absolute bargain. Now you may recognise this design from the classic 6900 series, but this one is in fact the GD-X6900, and the X stands for extra large. And as you can see, this thing is in absolutely grotty condition, especially these straps. And just before we get into our disassembly, cleaning and addition of new parts for this G-Shock, I've got an announcement for you. After our recent community poll results, the Goat Reviews community will hereby be known as the Goat Crew. In celebration, I've just launched a YouTube membership for you guys, which offers some awesome perks for those who want to show that bit of extra support. These perks include benefits like having your name shown in the credits for that extra recognition, as well as early access to our new videos, such as our upcoming Mr. G build, as well as behind the scenes content. All members will also be awarded some cool custom goat emojis that you can use in your comments, and also custom loyalty badges which will show up next to your name so everyone else knows that you're a member of the Goat Crew. So make sure you click the new join button just to the left of the subscribe button below this video so that you can see our brand new perks for yourself. Thanks for checking that out, guys. Now let's have an examination of the condition of this G-Shock while I tell you about how I came across it. Well, basically, I stumbled across this thing while hunting for G-Shocks on the Facebook Marketplace. The guy was asking just 40 AUD, which is 26 US dollars, which seemed too good to be true. I only had 2 pictures to go off, here they are, and as you can see, the model is the GD-X6900. Now the listing said that the straps might need replacing, but they didn't look too bad in the pictures, right? So I looked up the model number on eBay and saw that this particular model is selling for about 400 AUD, even in used condition. So I thought even if I needed to do a strap swap, it would be well worth the effort. So naturally, I messaged the guy saying that I'd take it, and I didn't even bother negotiating given how good the price already was. So I drove about 30 minutes to go and pick it up. When I got there, the guy invited me into his house, and I noticed straight away hanging up on the wall was motocross helmets. So this guy was obviously a motocross rider. So naturally, I asked to see the watch. He gestured for me to open my hand, and into it, he dropped the watch. And I still remember as I flipped it over, the keeper and buckle fell off the watch and clinked onto the table. However, I wasn't going to let that stop me, so I gave him my 40 bucks and I got out of there. I can only imagine that over the last 10 years of this fellow wearing this G-Shock on his motorbike, all of the crashes, bumps and smashes that this G-Shock would have been through, ultimately leading to its destruction. If you're enjoying the video so far, don't forget to smash that like button. Now once I got home, I started looking up the price of replacement straps for this model. Unfortunately, once I dug a little bit deeper, I discovered that the straps needed for this extra large variant G-Shock were not only harder to find, but substantially more expensive. No wonder he was willing to offload this G-Shock for such a low price, and no wonder the straps had all of this sticky residue all over them, which I now realise was the fellow putting on glue so that he could attempt to repair the buckle and save himself the headache of having to buy new straps. I'm now going to take off the straps and I'm going to show you the 2 options that I considered as replacements. Get a load of how dirty these straps are. Good thing I'll be throwing these away. Alright, now here's option number 1, and it was a very cheap option given I only spent $40 on this watch. Now these are technically not the correct straps. These are from a GD-350. They are at least the right lug width to fit inside, although they do not quite fit properly. And it is a really tight fit. But as you can see, it technically does work, although you do have this weird sort of bulge over here. Now, after an ungodly amount of online searching, I landed on these replacement straps, which I sourced from Baiyi, Japan. And by the way, these only cost me about 29 Australian dollars, which is much more acceptable. Here they are. This is going to fit the GD-X6900, and this number right here is how I was able to track it down, and my goodness did it take me a while. So let's remove this bezel and see how dirty it is under here. Oh God, that is absolutely disgusting. I've grabbed a little shot glass and we're just going to chuck all of our little golden screws in here because they're also quite dirty, and we're just going to leave these in here to soak while we work on repairing the rest of our G-Shock. It is also really important that we retain these little rubber bumper pieces. Finally, I've prepared some warm soapy water which we're going to use to wash off the bulk of the grunge around this G-Shock. Super happy with the cleanliness of these parts now, but there's one last thing to do, and that is to change the battery, because this is actually a 10-year battery and it's been exactly 10 years since 2013. Okay, so there's a bit of grime around the outside. Now, the very first thing we're going to do is ensure that our gasket stays waterproof using our Lubri Joints gasket grease. Much better. Now I can see that there is a very tiny little lever inside there that we're going to have to lift. And luckily I've got this little dental tool on hand which we can use to hopefully just lift that up. There we go. Oh, okay. Now see that? That's a Panasonic CR2032, and guys, if you are going to replace a battery, I would definitely advise using a Panasonic. In my experience, these are the brand of battery that last the longest. So if you want to get your hands on any of these, I will be leaving a link for you in the description below. Pop down our little clip. How's she looking? There we go. Make sure the little spring's poking through just there. We're of course going to take our gasket here, which is in our little Lubri joints, give that a few twists, and that's going to add a special waterproof grease onto the gasket and just make sure that this is going to stay perfectly waterproof. So we'll take this little gasket, drop it into position. Really love about this watch is this awesome gold and black color scheme, which just looks so nice together. And it actually kind of reminds me of the Mr. G watch, which has also got the gold and black color scheme. And we've actually just done an unboxing for the parts of that one. If you haven't seen that one, definitely check that video out above. And also make sure you are subscribed with notifications turned on, because we are going to be building this just as soon as our watch press arrives. I'm about to turn the lights off so you can see the backlight. Here we go. Look at that. Let's now compare this newly restored G-Shock with how it looked before we got started. Make sure you've liked the video, and do remember to check out our new join button below so you can see the incredible new benefits that we're offering. This would also really help the channel grow and help justify more custom builds just like this one. I'm leaving you with our watches playlist, as well as another related video that you're not going to want to miss. Do make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our next restoration. Now, here's a link to our members of the GOAT crew. As you can see, it's pretty empty right now, but You can imagine what it'd be like if your name was here getting a shout out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.